The European Commission has recommended Ukraine be granted candidate status in a first step towards EU membership, but the Commission chief says Kyiv has a lot of ground to cover before the country can take part in the so-called European dream.
The Commission recommends to the Council, first, that Ukraine is given European perspective, and second, that Ukraine is given candidate status. This is, of course, on the understanding that the country will carry out a number of further important reforms. And we all know that Ukrainians are ready to die for the European perspective. We want them to live with us the European dream.
So this move today by the European Commission leadership to recommend Ukraine as a designated candidate for EU membership is mainly a symbolic PR kind of move to project EU solidarity with Ukraine. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen made it clear there that there are a lot of conditions attached to moving forward, what she called a number of further reforms needed by Ukraine. And yeah, no kidding, the Schengen zone of the EU allows for borderless movement within the zone. There's no way that a country like Ukraine, with a hot military conflict on its soil and poorly tracked weapons flooding in to supply fighters that include foreign-backed neo-Nazis, could possibly be part of a border-free zone with the rest of the EU, with those weapons and fighters able to roam around Germany, France, Italy, Spain, what have you. That's just absolutely ludicrous and would present an obvious threat to the rest of Europe. Now, Ukraine was routinely derided by Western media and think tanks pre-conflict for authoritarianism and corruption, all of which now seem to have just magically vanished.
The European Commission has found that Ukraine overall is well advanced in reaching the stability of institutions guaranteeing democracy, the rule of law, human rights and respect for and protection of minorities, and has gradually approximated to substantial elements of the EU acquis in many areas.
Yeah, the recommendation, which comes a day after the leaders of Germany, France, and Italy expressed their support of it, does not confer candidate status. We have to remember that. The first step on the path to membership, but bolsters the cause of the Eastern European countries heading into a European Council summit on the issue next week. Now, to move forward, all 27 member states of the EU must agree. But even if they do, full membership for Ukraine could be many, many years away, something that French President Emmanuel Macron has been pointing out.
We do not have the right, after so many weeks of war in such a difficult moment, to tell the Ukrainians to come back later, and therefore a signal must be sent now. Yes, we are ready now to recognise your status of candidate for EU membership, but we also told them, frankly, this process will take time, there will be conditions, there will be a roadmap which will be made by the Commission to be fulfilled, and therefore you will not become a member of the European Union tomorrow.
Still, there are no guarantees. I think it's important to remember that at this point. Denmark and the Netherlands, for example, have already expressed opposition to Ukraine's inclusion in the bloc, and there can't be any dissenting EU member states for Ukraine to get the green light. But at least the EU Commission's announcement today allows the EU leadership to tell Ukraine that, well, hey, we're trying our best.
Political analyst Nikola Mirkovic believes that the EU is desperate to add Ukraine to the bloc, but Kyiv is entirely unprepared for such a move.
I think this is a political stunt that the EU is mustering, mulling now, because the European Union has been doing anything it can to try to get Ukraine inside. I think it's seeing today that it's losing Ukraine, or that there's a possibility that it may be losing Ukraine. And it's doing anything it can to try to push the Ukraine into the European Union some way or another, thinking that maybe ultimately this may put pressure on Russia to stop the ongoing military activity, because maybe if Ukraine were in the European Union, this would stop Russia, which it absolutely won't. And if we look at the details, if we look at Ukraine today and the conditions entering the European Union, we see that Ukraine fits practically none of the conditions to enter the European Union. Fundamental criteria set out by the European Council itself for any European member to enter the European Union are not met by Ukraine today. So having the head of the Council saying Ukraine can enter the European Union, albeit that Ukraine does not follow the criteria of Copenhagen, is really is a joke.